All right, welcome to the Persuasion Playbook. We're talking about techniques for unbeatable influence. And so this was something that we started last year, and this is the first one for 2024. But in 2023, it was the same book over and over and over again. And it was exactly what to say, which I do think is a very, very good book. And in 2024, we said, hey, let's change this thing up. Let's turn it into like a semi book club slash think tank around real estate and books. And so sell with a story, how to capture attention, build trust, and close the sale. So my first takeaway from this thing is know your audience. And it's understand the needs, the preferences, the motivations of your potential buyers and sellers. Tailor your communication and property showings to match their specific desire, whether it's family-friendly neighborhoods, investment potential, or proximity to amenities. And I think like my biggest takeaway from this is the potential piece. Who are your potential buyers and sellers out there? And I think that goes down to the circles of people that you are in action with, right? So do you have a social media following? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Instagram? Are you a part of any clubs, right? Like, do you go bowling? Are you a part of the Optimist Club? Like, what are you doing? And when you're thinking about those people that you're around and those people that you're taking this mind share from, those are your potential buyers and sellers. And so are we finding ourselves in real estate conversations? And I think this is huge. As we're going through and everyone knows that we are a real estate agent, and that's actually how you know if you're doing your job, right? Like when you start a conversation with somebody, are they asking you about real estate, or do you find yourself having to constantly bring it up? Right. So if I think about this and I'm doing everything that I should be doing, and people are naturally associating me with real estate, I'm not having to go, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I'm having a conversation and they're turning it inward on me and asking me the conversations. And so as I'm having these conversations, they're going to tell you what they're seeing, right? They're going to tell you what they're seeing in the market. Oh, I heard about the commission lawsuit. Maybe that's something that happens. I heard that's a bad time to buy. Interest rates are really high. Like they're going to tell you everything that they are hearing. And so then you're going to be able to tailor some of these conversations and be able to understand, like, okay, this is what I know that I'm about to walk into. And so what can my conversation look like? Tailor your communication, property showings to the specific desires, whether it's family friendly amenities, right? We're going through, and now how do I communicate out? So I'm in my circles, I'm hearing conversations, I'm in the conversations, they're telling me what they're seeing, and then I'm putting out communication about what I am going through. We're going to talk about this. There's another takeaway from this here in a second. But the second takeaway, number two, is craft a compelling story. And we need to narrate the unique story of each property, highlight its history, the lifestyle it offers, unique features, create a emotional connection by helping clients envision their future. This is big, guys. This is a bold law. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act, right? Like as we're going through and we're doing these different things. So if we're going out, we're either showing houses, or this is our listing and we're doing like a quick video walkthrough, or maybe I don't have a listing and I'm going through and I'm touring properties. What does it look like to go through and give the story about what is going on? And so, hey guys, just want to show you what this $500,000 house in Arvada, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Look at this giant kitchen for all my chefs out there. What do you think? Right? Like we're going through and we are creating a story around what we are selling. And this is the cool thing, guys. Like we sell real estate. And think about that. Like there is entire channels devoted to real estate. Like people love to actually sit at home and watch people go tour houses that they have nothing to do with, right? Like there's channels devoted to this. HGTV, Homes and Garden Television. And for the most part, it's all homes. Like there's not a whole lot of garden shows on here. So you guys have this power to unlock any home in the MLS, right? If there's a home on the MLS, you have the keys to it. And as you're going through and you are capturing what is happening, and you are able to show off and tell a story about the house and what you thought was, compelling about the house. Like maybe you saw something fun, and I can tell you, like, what does it look like to go through and it's a brand new kitchen. There's a soaker tub. You go through and maybe it's kind of weird and quirky. Maybe it's a 1960s home that hasn't been updated, right? And like maybe they got the yellow shag carpet, or maybe it's got the yellow or the pink and turquoise bathroom. Guys, like people find this stuff kind of interesting. And so what are we doing to tell stories around this and to actually put it out there? Again, social media, newsletters, like whatever that looks like. Maybe I'm having a conversation with somebody, right? Like we just talked about in the first one, and takeaway number one, and someone told us that they have a love for insert whatever here. And we're out on a showing where we snap a photo because we come across something and we send it to them like, hey, I was in a house today and this made me think of you, and we fire it over to them, right? Like all our job is to take massive mind share, and we know the market share will follow. My third big takeaway from this book, right, is the power of listening. Actively listening to your clients' needs and concerns. This builds trust and allows you to provide personalized solutions, whether it's finding their dream home or getting the best price on a property. Yeah, Lee on the previous one said no possessed by demons. I can tell you, I've seen some scary houses that I've walked in, and I mean, I've been nervous. But as we're thinking about this listening piece, right? Like we're doing a needs analysis. We're going through and we're having these conversations, and none of us on this call are good enough to truly force anybody to purchase a house, right? Like there's no world where that can happen. And what's unfortunate on that same token is this: the general public sees a used car salesman and then a real estate agent right here. And so what are we doing to break that stereotype? And it comes down to listening. And it's actively asking questions and getting deeper. And I think that's the big thing, especially as we're talking to newer agents. We have a mix on this call right now, right? And we have some experienced agents and we have brand new agents on this call. And this is the thing. We go into these listing appointments, we're going in, we're having conversations with people. And sometimes we get this imposter feeling, right? Like, why am I here? Am I the best person to help this person get to their goal? And that is it. We are going through, we are having conversations. We are listening. We are actively listening, and we are taking notes. And what we know is this: if we prescribe without knowing what their elements are, that is malpractice, right? So as we're going and they're telling us like, hey, I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And you're like, awesome. What's important about that 3-bedroom house to you? And they might say like, hey, it's just the two of us. And, we need 1 bedroom for a guest bedroom. And we actually, one of us works from home. And so we need a study. Well, okay. Well, if we could find you a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home with a flex space that you could turn into a study, would that fit your needs? And they're like, you know what? That actually might. And we're going through and they're just telling us what is important about it. They tell us that they're moving across to a different state. What's your timeline? Why is that important to you? What happens if you can't hit your timeline? As we're going through and we're just asking more and more questions and we get deeper and deeper into relationship, we're going to get closer in emotional proximity to these people, and they're going to trust us. And we go from that used car salesman to their trusted real estate advisor. Build credibility through your expertise, right? Being knowledgeable around market trends, some property laws, neighborhood specifics. These expertise reassure your clients and helps provide valuable advice by making the buying or selling process smoother. And so guys, like we all went through real estate school, and that taught us whatever it taught us. And there's 43,560 square feet in an acre. which none of us will ever have to use, ever. And as we're going through, we should at least know what's kind of going on. And so as we're thinking about this thing, are we, and this is an Ignite thing, is if anyone has been through Ignite, you know that we should be going out and previewing properties, right? We should be going out and previewing properties. Yes, I'll get you that needs analysis form. Absolutely. That's the old school one, right? Like that needs analysis form. You guys saw that old school KW. That was like the original like 1980s KW logo. I don't even know if you can find this anymore. It used to be on a website, and I actually just have access to it and downloaded the PDF. But I think that the website has removed the link since then, but I'll absolutely get that to you guys. But like as we're going through, we need to know what a $500,000 price point gets us in Arvada versus what a $500,000 price point gets us in Denver. Because we all know on this call, those are two way different things. And we need to be going out and checking these things out and knowing, and this is what's important, right? We're going to be talking to people and they're going to be telling us what their needs are and what they're looking for. And if we're going out and doing market research, right, to where we're actually staying with our finger on the pulse of the market, and we know that this is what a $500,000 home looks like, and maybe this $500,000 home is in complete disrepair. And then we go to another home where $500,000 gets us a fully renovated home. But I could guarantee that the square footage probably looks a little bit different, the bedroom, the bathroom count, and we're going through and we need to be updating the people. And then what are we doing to make sure that everyone knows? And again, this is why I think there's huge power in social media. And it's like, I'm passionate about social media because I know that we can connect with more people faster. And when we get into that emotional proximity and they're seeing us as the real estate economist of choice, then it makes the conversations when we are face to face, voice to voice, text to text, whatever that looks like, it's a way easier conversation because they're seeing everything that we're doing in the background when we're not one-on-one with them. So let's make sure that, like, as we're going through, we know what is happening in the market, what the market trends look like. And that's why we also brought that class on Tuesdays, where we are talking about what is happening on the national scale, as well as the state scale, as far as interest rates, inventory. Like, this is what's going to set us apart. The importance of follow-up. Keep in touch with your clients after meetings, viewings, transactions. A consistent follow-up demonstrates the commitment that can lead to referrals and repeat business. Guys, this is what's super unfortunate. And this is why, I think about Zillow. And at one point we were talking about how like Zillow is the enemy. And you know what? Honestly, they are. But as we think about this thing, we used to have this mindset, especially in Keller Williams, that like, don't go out and buy leads. And like, that was the thing, like, don't go buy leads, don't go buy leads, like go out and nurture relationships and do all these other things. And I think this is it. I don't think that, going out and buying a lead is a bad thing, but being transactional is. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of the times, like these third-party lead aggregators, like these agents go out and they go buy a lead. They do business with someone and then they forget all about them. They don't stay in touch with them. They don't reach out to them anymore. And then you know what happens? That same person that you helped, that you were very transactional with, that after you gave them their closing gift, you forgot all about them. When they were ready to buy or sell their next house, they went back to Zillow because we didn't do our job. And so we need to go through and make sure that we have some kind of touch plan in place. And what's interesting is that when, we were originally doing the research, we saw that it was at least 36 touches, which sounds super daunting to so many people. And then you're like, Charles, 36, you just threw up 60, dude. Like 60 sounds intense. Because then you're going through and you're like, well, okay, I got, 400 people in my database. I got 300 people in my database. And I got to reach out to them all 60 times per year. And I would say this, if you're not reaching out to anybody in your database right now, 1, 2, 3, 4 times might be a good start, right? Like, let's just do something and let's start getting in the habits. But this is pretty cool, right? Like, they break it down, the touch, it's like there's 36 emails. Like, do you think that you could create 36 emails. And the way they said it, like, here's some hot listings. So cool. Guys, I just went out and I toured some homes. I went out to look at some new builds. Here's a bunch of new builds for $500,000 in whatever neighborhood. What would it look like to get this information out to my people? Like, hey, just want to give you like this new build community out here. $500,000 gets you all this. Snapping some photos, I'm taking some video, I'm putting it out here. Right? There's the 12 video emails, 12 text emails, right? Where I'm just going through and I'm kind of writing something, like whatever my experience is, throwing some pictures out there, right? You know, where I think gets a lot of traffic still, Casa Bonita. Like, we're still seeing people pop up and they're like, I got my ticket. It's like Willy Wonka in here, and everyone's looking for the golden ticket to go check out the factory. And everyone's super excited. And so, like, if you're on that email list and you're still waiting for your ticket, like, I bet some people would be excited to see like it kind of happen. And this is also, I do believe you can recycle content. So if you're putting stuff out on social media, what does it look like to take that same content and put it into a newsletter? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, because this is what we know. Not everyone's going to see my stuff on social media. Not everyone's going to open up my email. And so I don't think there's any wrong with doubling down on the same content and pushing it out there and kind of see what happens. Obviously, 4 items of value, going through and putting some different things on there, direct mail. And maybe this is the thing, like, maybe you're like, Charles, like, I'm not going to go lead with that kind of stuff. And you're going to cut down this 60 touch to a 48 touch because you're not going to do direct mail. I respect that. But let's go through, let's do some calls. And let's host some client appreciation events, right? Like, the office does breakfast with Santa every year. That's like a minimal cost for huge impact. That you, at least at the very least, you get to make a phone call, you get to send a text message, you get to send an email. Hopefully you get to see the people, you get to get the photos to them. Like, there's a lot of touches that get enrolled up in that kind of thing. So guys, I implore everyone to have some kind of touch system for 2024, regardless of what it is. But let's just make sure that we're doing something so people will see us. I can tell you that when I started off as a brand new agent, my big touch was just Facebook Messenger. Like, that's what I would do. I would go through and I would Facebook message everybody every month. So we're talking 12 touches. And that was pretty much it. Yes, I would see my sphere of influence and stuff on, like, going out for, drinks or for dinner or something, backyard barbecue, whatever. Like, I would see those people. And then social media, they were seeing me everything. And so that actually opened up conversations. But same with the Facebook Messenger piece. Like, I would go through and I would find something to have a conversation about, and they would bring up real estate. Think about what you want your touch program, because this is going to be the year. This is not 2023. This is obviously not 2021. But I do think that this is going to be a way better year than we had last year. Persuasive language. So use positive, persuasive language that highlights the benefits and the potential of a property. Avoid negative phrasing and focus on creating a vivid, attractive image of the property and everything that we do, right? Like, and as we're going through here, I like this, exactly what to say. There is 2 different versions of exactly what to say. They also have one for real estate agents. So you have exactly what to say, which is, I told you, was the book that we did every month last year, because I think it's that important of a book. And then we have exactly what to say for real estate agents. And I'm not telling everyone to go rush out and buy this book if you're not a book reader, but you know what I would say? Does it make sense to replace listening to the radio in the car with an Audible book and just kind of listen to this as you're going back and forth to appointments, going to go preview houses, whatever that looks like? Like, the radio is not going to make you money. This book will. This book absolutely will. And so as we're going through and we are doing some tie downs and we are changing our vernacular and how we are kind of having the conversation and the cadences and different things like that, it also reminds me of Bold. And through Bold, right, we just talked about a Bold law about, emotions make you act. And as I started thinking about Bold, one of the things that we did was we removed but from our conversations, and we went from but to and. And so I don't know if anyone notices, when I'm typically having a lot of conversations, you don't hear me say but a lot unless I'm trying to put emphasis on it. And I've truly changed a lot of the conversations to where instead of but, it's and it has stuck with me. What are we doing to level up our conversations with people? And we're not going to call them scripts, because I know that that just makes everyone like kind of crawl back inside, like, oh no, Charles, I'm not a scripted person. I don't want to be a robot. And we need to go through and what do our talk tracks look like? Right? Like we're going through and what are some of the different phrases that we can be using to make people think and then put emotion in it to make them act from there. I like this book, guys. This is my plug for this book. Testimonials, right? Like as we're going through and we're thinking about testimonials, share stories and testimonials from past clients, positive experiences, build trust, and offer proof showing potential clients the level of service and success that they can expect. But I like the social proof aspect of this. And here's the thing. Like I said, we got new agents, we got experienced agents. And as I'm thinking about the new agents and the experienced agents, some of you have past clients. Did they give you a testimonial on how you crushed it for them? And if they didn't, what does it look like to go back now and just ask them for something? And guess what? Like we can do different things, like $5 gift card. Hey guys, I'm giving everyone a $5 gift card for anyone that goes out and goes onto my Google My Business page, my Facebook page, my insert whatever here, and leave me a positive review. What does it look like to go through? And maybe this is something that you're going to do on a yearly basis, a quarterly basis, and offer a bigger prize for however many people go through and they do it and get your name entered into. For my newer agents, people still know you, like you, and trust you. You might not have helped them purchase a house, but I can guarantee they will write you a review about your character. And so what does it look like to get a character review to where you're going through and you haven't helped them buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And what they could do is say something about your integrity. They could say that if I were you and I was purchasing a home, you have to use so-and-so. They don't have to say that they used you. Now, if we're talking about a Zillow review or any of those platforms, right, they actually has to be attached to an address. And if you're talking about Google My Business, or you're talking about Facebook, it doesn't need to. You're talking about Yelp, be gamifying this, guys. Like I can tell you, I think it was like 2 years ago, Brittany Heckenberg got very, very purposeful about this. And she just sent out a mass email blast to everybody in her database. I'm telling you, everybody in her database, because I got one. And it just was like, hey, super thankful for you being in my life. One of the things that I want to make sure is that if I've impacted anybody, that I would love it if they would share a story about this for me and it was Google. And she's like, I have a goal to hit X amount of Google reviews this year. And I would super appreciate it if you would help me hit that goal. And she mass emailed that out to everybody. And go look. I think it's a Home Group Denver. You could Google that right now and it should pop up with Hackenberg Group. And you'll see them all. Like if you go look at the year, like they're pretty much all the same year. Like all of them is when they were put out. So the social proof is big, everyone. Visual impact matters. Takeaway number 8 for me. Invest in high quality photos and virtual tours. A visually appealing presentation can capture attention and make properties more memorable. So as we're going through this, like this is what we know. We're not going to be the agents, especially those brokers that are going around and taking cell phone photos. Like unless you're a semi-professional photographer, I don't recommend it. Especially don't be, like most of the time when we see this, like someone's got like the finger over the camera lens and like we see that blur on there. Or like it's a weird angle where they're like coming down at it and like you can kind of see like the top of the fan for whatever reason. Like I don't know why that's a photo, but it happens. So what are we doing as we're going through and getting the professional photos? What I would also say is this, like as we're looking in here and we're touring properties, this is pretty good just for a quick photo for social media still. And so as we're going through and we're snapping photos and doing videos and different things, and again, that photo, I can send it off to a client that reminds me of something. I can put it on my social media account, and I can put it into a newsletter and fire off to people. Right. And here's your pro tip, right? Like, this is for your reels and your stories. This is how I'm holding my photo. And this is for my stills, right? This is my stills for just a regular Facebook or Instagram post. Videos, reels, stories, everything else. This is how we need to hold it. So as you're going through and you're snapping pictures of a home, be thinking about how you want to use it. Do I want the landscape to be able to go in a reel, to play a video, a story, because it's going to take up the full screen? Or do I just want someone to scroll through it and just see it as a photo, and I want them to see more of my text message around it? So there's your pro tip, which I know is just another thing that we need to be thinking about. And that's why you see me, like, I'm taking photos, I'm hitting it both ways. I'm going here and I'm going here with it because I want to make sure that I have it for any type of content that I truly want to create. Number 9, understand and overcome objections. Be prepared to address common objections about property features, pricing, or market conditions. Understanding these concerns allows you to provide and inform reassuring responses. And so as I'm going through, like, this is what I'm thinking about. I am plugging into different things in different channels so that I can hear and I can understand. And that's why you guys are all part of a brokerage that has the reach that we do of 150 agents. And as we're thinking about the 150 agents, we have a pretty big think tank and mastermind to where we can actually go through and see and hear what other people are seeing and hearing. And then we're able to go through. So understanding these concerns allows us to provide informed, reassuring responses. So as I'm thinking about this and I'm having conversations, remember, in the, like, takeaway number 1, I'm having conversations with the people in my ecosystem. They're telling you what they're hearing and what they're seeing. They're telling you, oh, I saw on the news, interest rates are too high. Now's not a good time to buy. I heard that, real estate agents make too much money and they're all being sued right now, right? They're going to tell you all these different things. And it's our job to make sure that we can have some kind of conversation around it. I would say this is the big one. Like, if I'm going to give anybody a script right now, here's your script. If someone's going through and they're asking me, because you all get this question, how's the real estate market? Or, is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? I want you all to pause and not say what you think that you want to say. Because I think a lot of times everyone's like, oh yeah, now's a great time. I need the sale. And then they're like, new car salesman, real estate agent. And I would like you guys to take a step back and say, that's a great question. If you don't mind me asking, are you asking from the perspective of a seller, a buyer, or an investor? Because again, all we're going to do is we want to listen and hear kind of where they're asking us to frame the conversation. And they say, oh, as a seller, and I'm like, awesome, just so that I can make sure that I'm giving you the best advice that I can. What's important about this question to you from the perspective of a seller? They're going to tell you, like, oh, you know what, like, it's time, my mother-in-law, we need to sell her house. She's going to move in with us, right? Like, okay, cool. Now you have an opportunity. And now we can actually go through and we can talk about, what's going on in the market. We say, interest rates are starting to lower, which means that we're actually seeing more purchase applications get put through. And also the market's starting to heat back up or thaw off because we're entering into the springtime. So if we're starting to well-position properties, we're actually going to start to see multiple offers because buyers are getting in. What's your timeline? Right? And we're coming through and we're having the conversation and we're taking business, because a lot of times I think if we say, the market's great or the market's crazy, right? We heard that back in 2021, the market's crazy. And they're like, okay, cool. Thanks for the advice. And like the conversation was over. We need to know these common questions and these objections so that we can actually have a conversation. We need to develop our negotiation skills to ensure deals and favorable for your client. Understanding both parties' needs can lead to a successful win-win outcome. And we know our Y4C2Ts inside KW. It's win-win or no deal. And so as we're thinking about this, I would just implore everyone that if you don't feel 100% with contracts, get to the classes. There's a contract class in this office every month, right? And we have our annual commission update with Damian Cox this month. So January 30th, Damian Cox will be in here. And if you're going in year number 2 of real estate, or if you're an experienced real estate agent, you need to have an ACU every year. It's mandatory. Might as well knock it out now. And we're going to go through a lot of different things. And I think one of the things that we're probably going to talk about this go around is what is happening with landlord tenant law right now, because it is bonkers in Colorado. Like, landlords have zero rights at this point. And guys, we do believe that we're going to actually see a lot of landlords sell their houses. We think that's very real. That is going to be a very real possibility because they have zero rights, to where, like, one of the things that we're going to be asking around is you actually can't kick out a tenant. So, and what I mean by that is, let's say that the tenant has like 30 days in the contract to renew their lease. Well, if they go to day 29 from move out, or even day 7 from move out, they can still say that they want to stay, and you can't kick them out, even though it was in the contract that they had 30 days to tell you, and they took it all the way down to day 2. Another thing, right, is security deposits. And so this is a big thing, guys. Think about this. My experienced agents in this room, you do a post-occupancy agreement. And so, like, while this isn't really tenant landlord, let's say you do a post-occupancy agreement and it's for $0. Well, the new tenant law says that you can't charge more than double the rent for a security deposit. So if you're doing PCOA, post-occupancy agreement, for $0 as the buyer's agent, can you charge a security deposit? And these are the kind of questions that we're going to be asking our lawyer, because these are very, very important questions. That these are the new laws, but we don't know how some of them are going to pertain to us. And that one specifically, because I know that a lot of you are using that lever as you're negotiating, where you're like, oh yeah, we'll let the seller stay for 30 days rent free. But then can we charge a security deposit? And I don't know the answer to that. I think it's very gray, and we're going to get some clarity around it. Personal branding, right? Like, as we're thinking about personal branding, build a strong personal brand that reflects your values, professionalism, and expertise. A recognizable and respected brand attracts clients and sets you apart. So if we're talking about social media again, I think that a lot of people think that this, like, they have this imposter syndrome, and like, you're going through and just give your advice. One of the things that I was doing back in 2023 was I would do that green screen back on Instagram, and I would go through and I would just record a video of myself talking about an article that came out and just give my opinion on it, whether it's from like the buyer perspective, the seller or investor, and just kind of going through and just having a conversation with it. Yeah, there's some points in the article that I would use, and I'm just going through and having the conversation. This truly, guys, like, fake it till you make it kind of persona really works in this business, as long as we're not lying, right? I think that's the difference. Like, a lot of people are like, do I fake it till I make it? Yes, but we're not going to go out and just go lie to people. But absolutely, let's go through and let's go and just be previewing a bunch of houses and showing stuff and just showing how busy we are and doing a lot of different things, or at least making it look like we're super busy. I'm not telling someone, oh yeah, like I had 10 listings this month. Like, that would be a lie. But if I'm going through and I'm just putting a bunch of, here's this house, here's this house, here's my newsletter of things that are going on, and I look super busy, and they're like, oh my God, like, Charles is the real estate agent that I should be using, because like he's doing a lot of different things. Go through and just make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And then the personal branding is, as well as this, I can say that I was talking to, I would say buddy, but I'm gonna go with an acquaintance. I was talking to an acquaintance on social media one day, And he brings up an agent that we both know. And he says, "Oh, you know what? Hey, if I was going to, buy or sell a house, and it was buying, I think at this point, he goes, would it be okay if I called you?" And I said, "Yeah, man, absolutely." He's like, "I would use so and so," right? That was his next thing. He goes, "I would use so and so." I'm like, "Oh, okay, tell me more." He goes, "Yeah, but all they do is luxury listings." Because this agent, all they were doing is they were actually just putting out these very expensive properties, because like that was who they were trying to attract, but they were also alienating. They were also alienating the other um, clientele that's actually really the clientele that's on their social media, right? Like they were going through and they're like $1 million Mondays, $1 million Mondays, $1 million Mondays, and like they just kept posting like showing the house, showing the house, showing the house. And they weren't selling the houses. They weren't even a part of the transaction. They were just really just showing off the properties, getting permission from the seller, putting it on there and just doing it. Well, then it just started solidifying to their social media base that they're a luxury agent, and they probably won't be getting going down to a different price point. And they were kind of alienating people. Lee says, if we preview a house, can we post the review info on social if it is in our listing? Okay, cool. So I think this is a gray area. And I know that this is recorded. And with that being said, this is what I think. I think that if you go into a house and it has a kitchen layout and you snap a photo and you put it on social media, that's okay. I think if you go into a bathroom and you like the tile scheme or even just the layout, the soaker tub, the whatever, you snap a photo, that's okay. If you go into someone else's listing and you video the listing and you say, "Give me a call," that's not okay. I think if you tie a call to action on someone else's listing, shout out the address, and you do a bunch of things to promote it as yours, you're breaking the rules at that point. Now, what I would say is this: on a new build, do it all day long. They want you to. On a new build, they want you to. Go into a new build, and it's easier anyway, right? Because they got business hours, 9 to 5. I don't need a schedule showing nothing. Like I can just go walk in and do it, and they want you to. I've done photo shoots where I've like, "Hey, can I bring a photographer in and actually do some lifestyle shoots in your property?" And they're like, "Absolutely, please." They'll even go like, "Yeah, if you want to bring the brokers through," right? Like perfectly fine. It's the Wild West when it comes to new builds. I just, as I go through and I'm doing things with these other properties, I'm not going to call out the property address that I'm doing it for. I'm not going to go do a call to action, and I'm not going to do like a big old preview of the house unless it's more of like, "Hey, what do you think about this property? What do you think about this kitchen? Do you like this kitchen or this kitchen more?" I think that's a gray enough area to where you're not harming anybody, to where it's acceptable to all parties. But if you say, "Hey guys, just toured 123 Main Street, give me a call if you want more information about this property," I think you're breaking some rules, and I think you're going to get in some trouble. So that's my thoughts on that. And if you want to be safe, right? Like, and if this is the thing, Lee, like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller's agent, would it be cool if I, took a quick video tour of the house and put it on social media? They might be cool to it, right? Because I think about this, I think about Ken Pozak down in Florida. And so if you guys are interested in social media and like YouTube specifically, go Google Ken Pozak and go check out his YouTube channel. It's KenPozek. And one of Ken's most watched videos is Shaq's house down in Miami when Shaq was a part of the Heat. And he didn't have the listing. He did, however, have a huge following on his YouTube channel, to where the agent that had Shaq's listing said, "Hey, man, I know that you have a huge social media presence on YouTube. Would you please come bring your crew through here and help me get this thing sold?" So another agent from another brokerage called Ken and asked Ken, and go check it out. It's his most watched video on YouTube right now. And Ken has a monstrous following, to the point to where like the mayor calls Ken and says, hey, can you promote this for us? We're trying to get some things going on. Like it's pretty neat. And that's also part of the newsletter I just sent you guys on Monday, right? Was Ken's agent referral. So that was that one pager that I sent everyone was around that. Ken's a pretty smart. Utilize technology. As we're thinking about this, we need to leverage technology for marketing, communication, and market analysis. Like our CRM, social media, virtual staging can enhance your efficiency and reach. Everyone in here has access to Command. There's some pretty cool stuff in there if you want to use it. For example, if you didn't know, you have the ability to do TikTok ads out of Command. And you're like, Charles, I've never been on TikTok. And that's the cool thing about it. You don't need to be on TikTok to actually run an ad for TikTok. It's a business suite tool. So when we start thinking about all the Gen Z and all the millennials and anybody else on here, like my buddy sends me a TikTok like every other day. And I don't get on TikTok unless he sends me something to look at. We can actually go through and create ads for buying and selling real estate and just put them directly onto the platform. And we don't even need to waste any other brain power besides that on TikTok. We have the ability to send monthly neighborhood nurtures. Everybody cares. This is the cool thing. What Zillow has done right is this Zestimate. And I'm not saying the Zestimate is right. I'm just saying the psychology behind the Zestimate is right. People care what their home is worth. And the only thing that they care about, even though that they know that their Zestimate is garbage. All they care about is they want to know, is their home worth more than their neighbors? That's the only reason why they go look at their Zestimate. So as we're thinking about this thing, we put someone on a monthly neighborhood nurture and they're seeing what the neighborhood's doing and they're looking at the pictures of their neighbor's house and their neighbor's price point and how many days it's on the market. They care about that stuff and you have the ability to give it to them. This is cool, guys. So we have technology. And again, as we're talking about this 36 to 80 touch program or 60, depending on where you want to go, be thinking about, I can send out 12 emails about what's happening in your neighborhood every month. All I need is your address and I can set it and forget it. And you will get up-to-date information about all the houses. Pretty cool. Sense of urgency, right? Encourage decision-making by articulating the benefits of acting promptly, such as market conditions, interest rates, or unique appeal. And we've been talking about this. As we've been thinking about what is going on in the market, we do know that real estate is seasonal. And with the seasonality, the market is starting to thaw off and heat back up. And all the conversations for people that are saying that they want to wait, they want to hold off, we need to be in conversations with them to be seeing what is holding them back. And as we're going through and we're having these conversations, I just need to know what's important to you or what's more important to you. Is it the monthly payment, right? Especially if we're talking about interest rates. Is it the monthly payment? Or is it the cash out of pocket? Because there is a trade-off, right? If I wait too long, and yes, interest rates might go down, but you know what else is going to happen? There's going to be more demand. There's going to be more people looking to get into the market. And when more people are getting into the market, we know that prices are going to go up. And if prices are going to go up, it's probably going to cost me more out of pocket if the property does not appraise. And we already heard from Mitch the other day, right? Mitch was in Team Rally saying that he had a property that someone offered $100,000 over asking. Yes, it was $1 million property, but still 20%. Like, like goodness. And so as we're thinking about this, it's starting to happen. It's getting a little bit weird again. I don't think we're going to see prices go down. I don't think there's any world where we see prices go down this year. There's still not enough inventory. There was a lot of pent-up demand last year because interest rates screwed everything up. And as interest rates are coming down, we're going to see people think, oh my goodness, this is the time for me to buy. Now, let's just make sure that they understand that while 2024 is the time for them to buy, it might not be 6 months from now. It might be closer to now to 3 months, and we just need to figure out what their motivations are so we can be the real estate economist of choice and help them navigate this decision. If anything that 2023 taught us is that we need to be flexible and ready to adjust strategies based on market dynamics, client feedback, and unexpected situations. Adaptability ensures that we can provide the best service in any circumstance, and this graph just says it all. This is the interest rates from January 2023 to today. And that is a roller coaster, right? Like, as we are looking at this thing went up and down pretty much every other day. And what it did was it caused a lot of uncertainty. And so as we're going through and we understand that this is what we were looking at, we need to be going through and making sure that we can truly pivot, right? We did have to pivot. This was a big pivot, right? We went and we found the motivated. For those that were doing production in 2023, it wasn't 2021 when money was free. And so we know that the importance of adaptability in our thing is this. We have to constantly be lead generating. We have to find the motivated, and then we have to convert. And you were probably doing the right activities in 2023, but the market wasn't in your favor. Interest rates were not in your favor. 2024, the market is going to be in your favor as far as interest rates. I don't know about inventory. Inventory, I think, is going to be a little bit tighter, and that's why it's important to your people that are on the fence. Bring them to the right side of that fence, right? Like, that is what we need to do. If they're on the fence and they're thinking about jumping and leaping over, what are we doing with this data and showing them supply and demand, interest rates, where we're at, inventory, and any other news articles or anything else that's going on, so that we can help them understand, like, hey, I get it. And this is a new year. And my last big takeaway, we need to be continuously learning and growing. We need to stay informed about industry trends, continue developing your skills, and learn from each transaction. Ongoing education and adaptability are crucial for long-term success. So I'm thinking about this, guys, like, we have a lot of resources, right? Whether it's coming from the brokerage, we're getting it from Housing Wire, which there's a lot of free articles on Housing Wire. There is some paywall stuff, and the paywall stuff is what I'm bringing you guys on Tuesdays. We have Inman, a lot of Inman's paywall. Denver Metro Association of Realtors, whatever board you're a part of, like, they give you information, they give you market trends, they tell you what is happening. We need to stay informed. We are truly in a skill-based market, and this happened back in the end of 2022, all of 2023. We used to be in a speed-based market where it was just like someone picked up the phone, they wanted to go see the house, we had to act quickly, right? Like 2021, it was like, hey, I want to go see 123 Main Street. Awesome. Could we get there in 15 minutes? Let's go. Let's write some offers. Let's make our offer as compelling as possible. Like, that was one of, like, Brittany's strategies. Is Brittany would actually go show the house as soon as it hit the market, and she would offer the highest amount that their client would go, and she would put a deadline of today. So she said, we're not playing any games. And what is the most amount of money you are willing to spend on this house? We are going to offer it and give them until 5 p.m. tonight to respond. We're not going to let it go into the weekend. Like, that was a speed-based market. And yeah, that was a little bit of skill, right? Because Brittany was playing a game at that point, and, like, she truly gamified it. And when we start thinking about this year, because we're not going to talk about 2023 because that's gone. And so as we're thinking about 2024, we know that this is skill-based. We need to know what's going on in the market. We need to know what's happening with interest rates. We need to know about the seasonality, because seasonality has come back. And for most agents on here, you've seen it to where, like, seasonality kind of disappeared for a little bit, right? And I think about pretty much 2013 to 2021, there was no seasonality, just go, 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 with a little bit of, 2020 kind of, slowing some things down a little bit. How are we staying informed? How are we educating our clients? And again, that we're coming from positivity. And we need to be thinking about this. We're in an election year. There's going to be some negative stuff. especially in social media. Like we're going to go through, and I don't care what side of the aisle you are, if you're on the blue side or the red side, it does not matter. But what I would say is this, like you're going through and you're informing people about real estate, don't touch those conversations, stay out of those conversations, keep it real estate, keep it positive, showing why real estate home ownership matters and how it is the #1 vehicle to generational wealth, and how you can be the real estate economist of choice to navigate them through the largest financial decision that they will most likely make in their lifetime, and how you are going to educate them and make it as smooth as possible. And the way that we're going to do that is we need to be taking mind share, social media, newsletters, phone calls, text message, clients events, barbecues. Like these are the things that we need to make sure that we're actively doing in 2024, because I promise you guys, with what is happening in the market, there's going to be more people raising their hands saying that they are ready to buy, and now is your time to take your unfair share and take massive, massive action. Those were my 15 takeaways from Sell with a Story, and I tried to incorporate real estate into it so that it was practical for you guys. For anyone that did read the book, does anyone have any takeaway that I did not say? That you were like, this was #1 for me? Cool. No, that works. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I'll put out the new poll for whatever book you guys want to read next. And like I said, worst case scenario, I get to read a book and then do a book report, and it levels us all up. So I'm down for it. Have a great rest of your Friday. And thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you, Charles. That was great.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Have a good day.
Thank you. You as well. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Charles.
Hey,
Bye.
thanks, Lyndon. Yes, sir. Lyndon? Yep.